Hey guys, welcome back to the Capital Mindset Show. Today we're going to be talking about quite a bit of stuff, I guess. We're going to begin, where do I begin? Well, first I'm going to begin with where we left off in the last car video. And that was when I asked everyone to share your thoughts about the Polestar 2. Okay, so the Polestar 2 is a electric vehicle made by Volvo. A lot of people kind of answered the question from the perspective of an investment. And also some people actually responded from the perspective that I absolutely don't like Tesla, which is ironic. Some of you might know why it's ironic. I'm not going to say why it's ironic. But anyways, regardless, just looking at it, I was asking from the perspective of the consumer. So what did you think about the car? Do you guys like the car, the way it looks? And so I'm going to basically, talk about why it is that I even asked such a thing. Well, the main reason is because I'm currently actually in the market for another car. I have a gas car. It's an Audi. And that one, it's old now. It's time for its replacement. It's time for its impending death. Or not death, because it still functions, but you know what I mean. And my wife has a gas car, so we want at least one gas car in the family, I guess. But looking at from this perspective, Polestar 2 and Tesla are two cars that I know of, unless you can comment down below of another car that I can get without going through a dealership. And that's the main reason, to be honest. If I'm being honest with myself, I don't really like to go through the whole dealership model. I think that looking from the perspective now of a consumer, right? Because we're separating Tesla as a stock, just looking at it from the business and as a consumer, look, like you Tesla bulls out there are probably going to love this part, because I do concede this, and I concede it in every point. Tesla has a very compelling offering, and look, like when I look at Polestar, I get the opportunity to circumvent that dealership, because I really don't like dealerships. I without naming any names for legal reasons. When we bought my wife's car, we went to a dealership, and we didn't have a good experience with them. I guess because we were young, we look young, they thought they could do certain things, but we're very lucky that, we have a very good bank behind us, and our bank actually came in and defended them, and to the point where they were going to take away their lending license, because they did some interesting things. Okay, so it was a big deal. Okay, but long story short, that whole experience and that whole ordeal just to buy a car was terrible. I hated it. I hated every moment of it, and that in conjunction with my experience with my own car, Audi. I won't again name the dealership because for legal reasons. Very bad experience in general overall, and it's just the whole aura of a dealership, and that's why companies like Carvana are growing so much. Is because even then in the gas section, consumers don't want to deal with the dealership. And I apologize if you work at a dealership, you own a dealership, and maybe your dealership is good, but the general consensus by I think the consumer is that. And right now, at present, Tesla and Polestar offer the consumer new vehicles without talking to a dealer. I don't want to do that. I just personally don't want to do that. So that was a big reason, because even then when you consider, for example, the compelling offerings of Hyundai Ioniq 5, right? That electric car, this is almost turning into a car review, then we'll get to some stock stuff, I promise. But that car, you can't find it, and if you do find it, the dealer is asking well above sticker. It's incredible. It's almost like, what do I have to do to convince the dealer to get me one when it arrives? It's like I have to do certain special favors for them or something. So that whole experience is turning me off of Hyundai. So Hyundai, if you're listening, I'm a potential customer that is turned off by your dealership network. I don't want to buy your car because one, either dealership's marking it up where it doesn't make sense anymore, and I'm talking to you, Ford as well. Ford, I know you're having an issue with your dealerships, right? So fix that with your dealerships, because I'm a potential customer. Here I am looking for a car, and the only option, interestingly enough, for my specific needs is Tesla or Polestar, right? Because I do not want to go, and to be honest, I'd probably go for a gas car too, but more leaning on the electric, as long as I don't have to talk to a dealer, right? I don't have to talk to a dealer, okay? And so in conjunction with all that being said, I, from the consumer perspective, see Tesla as the most compelling offering currently, because they have higher efficiency than Polestar. Of course, they have There's the interior quality problems that have existed in the earlier versions, and depending on which factory you get it from, by the way, actually, that actually matters. But looking at it from the consumer perspective, this is a very compelling car. This is a very compelling car. The Model 3 is a very compelling car. The Model Y was the one I'm leaning on. It's a very compelling car. So I wouldn't spend more than that on a car, even if, no matter how much money I have. I would never spend more than that. I would never spend over 100K. I say never, and then, you know, like, let's say like when I go through my midlife crisis, like perhaps, maybe. But yeah, that's pretty much like how I feel about that. I would never get the Plaid. This is, at the end of the day, a tool. It's actually very productive because you don't underestimate the ability for the car to alleviate some of these tasks for you. Like right now, like I'm not, you know, I am focusing on the road, but I'm not, you know, like hyper focused as I should be. And I could, like, for example, do some other things while the car is kind of here, but I'm paying attention, of course. I'm some defensive right there, but you get what I'm saying. Don't underestimate the value that it actually provides on a daily basis. Like, and Polestar offers their own version. Okay, so that's the last thing we're gonna say about cars. Just wanted to give that out there. On a second bit of tidbit, I received some comments, and I read everyone's comments because, you know, this is still, Capital Mindset is a small community. I read the Discord chats, I read the comments section on YouTube, and with that being said, in the comment section, I was getting some feedback on that NCR video. I won't name you, you know, by name, because that's not the style here. But there was a comment that perhaps I wasn't, you know, clear enough, and maybe you guys can give me some feedback here if I wasn't clear or not clear. I show the old clips to be always as transparent as possible, and unfortunately, the one with NCR specifically, I did state, and I showed this in the video, that I had stated in the past that I was going to add, but of course, those of you who follow the channel understand or know or have seen, because the portfolio is also public, that I never added NCR. And so I explained in that video yesterday why I never added NCR, and I think this individual might have been confused that I had NCR, but of course, you know, there's only so much I can do, so much I can just be transparent, and just like, if people don't see it, you know, oh well. So I also realized, though, that with my language of how I say things, I do have to take up the responsibility of being more careful with how I say things, and kind of just become more ambiguous, because I'm not providing a service in which I showcase my trades. I'm not charging anyone. I'm not providing a service. I don't want that responsibility. That's not even how I desire to make my income. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I don't want to do that. All right. So what I want only for all my viewers, from all my audience, and this is probably like a message to you if you confuse what Capital Mindset stands for. Simply put, it's to impact you in any shape or way or form in a positive way in your investing journey. And that is leaning more so on just showcasing my thought process. You may disagree with it, you may find faults with it, but tell you what, how about this? You guys just take only what is good and then remove what is bad. Because of course, a lot of things that, how I do things might differ for how you are doing things, okay? So the thought process behind how I might invest in one stock might be different from how you invest in that same exact stock. And so I think that when you take that into account, you know, just be wary of that, okay? So like looking at Netflix, for example. Netflix, I started to nibble, and I actually showcased that in the Netflix video, the old video of me, and how I stated I have a process, I have a plan. And so I don't want to, like, for example, someone sees that video and says, oh, he's nibbling now, I'm going to just add a ton, right? And the idea is to get across the thought process. And the thought process mainly actually is the strategy. And I'm as transparent as I possibly can be. I know sometimes the videos are long, so then if I say something in some part of the video where I say I am buying, and then that person just stops watching the video and they don't hear the rest of it, there's almost a sense of responsibility that I can't help but feel, that, you know, that person just took away from that video, that, you know, it's a buy and that's it. And they don't understand that there's actually more than that to it. And that, for example, when I start buying a stock, it's not actually when it's at the value I like. It might be when it's above that value, and then I have a strategy to kind of slowly but surely, because when you make a one purchase thing, you're making a statement. You're making a statement that that's the definitive bottom. Well, I don't have the guts to say that about any particular stock. So generally, I always add with a process. And to kind of add up to the additional point, so the person had a bit of I guess a bad taste in their mouth for a video I did on the Popular Investor. And I don't hate the guy at all, and I actually don't think that his portfolio is necessarily a bad portfolio. It's just concentrated in some stocks that I actually think will do well, by the way. That's why they're in my portfolio. It's just concentrated differently. And if those stocks do really well, he's going to do really well. But, taken away from that, I do say that it is a challenging environment. Not really. It's not really as challenging as you think. It's no different. Mostly bad stocks are what really are collapsing, and things that were overvalued. Because if you hear the Netflix video, for example, I stayed. It's overvalued. It was overvalued. I still was buying, and I had a process to how it would actually add into the position. You watch the updated Netflix video. I go into greater detail as to the price points that I think are good for Netflix. Same with Facebook. Facebook, we're already kind of going through the story. It's up today, but that's not a good thing for me, okay? It's not good that it's up today. I actually want greater turmoil in the stock so I could build out that position. That position is not necessarily done being built out. Now, taking a look at something like NCR. Now, NCR, several days after I made the original video, it jumped 20%. And then if you looked at me then, which was a thing, right? People actually asked me on the live streams back in those times, why don't you have NCR? NCR jumped today, right? Well, now I look like an idiot, right? But there were some concerns I had as to why I never added NCR. And then that's where I kind of circle back and say, well, I got to be careful, again, with my language. But at the same time, if it's in the video, I also have to consider that, well, what can I do if you don't watch the whole video? There's only so much I'll do. But, again, this is not like, some would say it is kind of a business, but it's not a business. This is like my pastime, my hobby, my just for fun. I'm sitting here in front of a camera talking, and then on my drive and stuff. But like kind of onto the third and final point, with what's going on in the markets, right? Just finishing off, circling back. I'm going to be looking at Google more closely. I'm going to look at their earnings much more closely. Might do a video on it, might not do a video on it. If I find something interesting, I'll do a video on it. But otherwise, what I stated in the other Google video still stands. The prices probably still stand. But I also am going to look at, Meta. I don't really want to cover Meta because I already covered Meta. I'm going to look at PayPal, but through this environment that we're in, there is some fear out there, some concerns, but I don't really see it. Again, I don't see it necessarily as a difficult environment. If you were picking solid companies, you're gonna be doing fine. It's been an opportunity to build a position. That's all that this has been. Look, like ConocoPhillips was a perfectly good position that was very profitable, and actually that's where some of those proceeds, because most of it was in a retirement account, so I'm not actually touching that money, but some of those proceeds are gonna actually go to this potential vehicle purchase. We'll see. I will make a video if I end up deciding, because it will be a good experience from the consumer perspective again, because I think people will probably want to see that. I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section if you want to see that whole experience. But furthermore, just kind of expanding upon that for a second, the issue with kind of like thinking, oh, the market's just really bad. All right, well, it's not the best, but it's also not terrible. Okay, if you're building your positions now, you're quite happy. If you've had positions, you have no new capital coming in, oh yeah, that's the person who's upset. The person who doesn't have any cash or capital to deploy is upset. And I mean, I don't say often what percentage I am allocated to cash, and actually I don't know the percentage off the top of my head right now. I actually have to look through my different accounts and actually see that. But those of you who have asked on live streams, I've given you the answer. You probably have the answer, and if you want to say the percent or guess your percent, you can comment down below. On to one last note, there is actually a good friend of mine who is a partner at a hedge fund, and they were actually they gave me their stat sheet. So they focus on commodities, and they were just asking me if I'm going to give them the time of day, so I'm going to actually look at the stat sheet, and we can actually go over that. I might make a video on it. I might not make a video on it, but I'm just letting you know that that might be a video that does come out. And I'm letting you know the relationship in advance. I do know one of the partners at this hedge fund. They're actually close to my age, by the way. Very successful. Very happy for them. So, and you know, I'm just going to be going over their fact sheet and you know, just talking about them if I do a video on them. If I think that it's something that, you know, can provide some interesting content or value, I think it'd be cool. But on that note, guys, again, if you guys have any questions, criticisms, any of that, comment down below. Just let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.